Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam. This was wild to me. This was super interesting to think about, to look at. We talked a little bit about this on stream, but are we in a new world of theory crafting? I think we are. I really do. And what I'm talking about is, yes, unfortunately, we are talking about datacrons. But I want you to take a look at this. Don't leave the video yet. I want you to take a solid look at this because, like, there is so much theory crafting that can be done with these new datacrons. These faction alignments are insane because it's not factions, it's now, you know, support, tank, healer, attacker. And so the level 9s I don't care about. Like, yes, there's some cool level 9s in here, but just how hard it is to get a good level 9, plus the fact that once you get a level 9, like, for instance, if I were to look at one of my level 9s right now, you know, this right here, I have a Sabine Wren level 9, but that means I can have a dark side or a light side level 3. And so, like, I can't even get to level 9 and re-roll my level 3s, which is not great. And so, like, we have this problem where, like, oh, is this really a good datacron? And the answer is not really, but also it's one of the most freeing datacron sets we've ever seen that can be used for anything that you want to, because we can sit here and we can make all kinds of really cool datacron sets for characters we have in this game. Like, I was sitting here and I was like looking at that datacron and I was like trying to get something that I could use for Wampa, trying to roll a Wampa-cron, and like I looked at it and I'm like, dang, I just can't re-roll the level 3, so I can't get what I want for Wampa, which was the the protection up on damage over times. But then I was looking at it, I'm like, hold up, am I reading this right? This can't be right, can it? And sure enough, you know, I can use it with Maldalorians, because you look at this. Whenever a dark side ally uses special ability, gains 15% turn meter. I mean, that's not amazing for the Maldalorians, but it's still nice to gain some turn meter. And then whenever an attacker critically hits, they attack again, limit once per turn, otherwise they gain 10% defense penetration. So anytime one of these guys uses one of their special abilities, they'll be able to attack again and deal that excess damage, that the true damage that these guys provide to our Maldalorians. And then whenever an attacker attacks out of turn, they deal bonus true damage, which can't be evaded. Do you see how many of these guys are attackers overall? Like, holy shiz, dude. And so, like, I was like looking at it, I'm like, this is a bulk cron right here, you know? We've got this bulk cron right here, and so we're like, okay, yeah, a bulk cron should make this counter much harder. But you throw this cron onto this team, and all of a sudden you can do some crazy stuff. You know, classic start, you have your Django die off to that. We have a gas on the team, so we're going to hit the gas first, because you got to make sure we upset the cooldowns. We don't hit those overall problems with the just with the dazes that go out from him. Now we're just going to focus down General Kenobi, and we are, you know, this is a bulk cron, and yet we're already through the protection up, we're going into the health, we're already through his first set of health, we're into the savior, and he's gone. And it's that easy. And, you know, because of this cron, he just crit right there, and so he got an extra attack in, which is interesting to have Maul actually getting extra attacks in. And so we can, like, hit this AoE. If we get a crit off of that AoE, we're gonna end up, you know, being able to attack again out of turn. Like right there, we just had an attack out of turn. We're gonna try it again, and look at that. We just, especially with Candorous Ordo, that's awesome. And so, like, you can just, you know, absolutely destroy with this team now. And so, like, I've been really impressed with, like, just the fun little things that you can do with these crons. You can overcome a lot of things. I've used this team to take out JMKs with this, just having fun with it. I've used this team to take out some I've gone up against a Leia team with a bolt cron, and I've, like, taken out the Leia first turn. Of course, it becomes problematic more and more as you start to see the things in squad arena, because people like to put gas in their squad arena. People like to put, you know, people are doing the AdRad, what is it, the AdRad, not Cassian, what is her name, Jin Urso thing going on in Squad Arena. Of course, high Kyber people do that, but I don't see it in my area of the woods in Kyber 3. And so, like, all of a sudden, the extra instance of true damage is just pushing us through so much. And so we can use this to our advantage a ton. And it doesn't stop there. Like, you know, no, there's not a dash Rendar Kron. There's not. There just isn't a dash Rendar Kron. But if we were to, you know, come over and look at this Kron right here, whenever a light side ally inflicts a debuff on an enemy, they deal damage to that enemy equal to 2% of the enemy's max health. Now, if we were just to look at that, just a straight level 3 right there. Now, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, that's pretty good. That means you're dealing three different debuffs to each character with Dash's overall AoE. So you're going to do a little bit more damage out of his AoE. That's awesome. Okay, cool. I can see where that's going. But then you start looking at the faction mechanics and you go to support, which is what he is. Whenever a support ally starts their turn, dispel tenacity up, which basically means he can actually hit his debuffs, and then reduce the enemy's tenacity by 100%, in further ensuring that you're applying all those debuffs that Dash likes to apply. And then whenever a support inflicts a debuff on an enemy, all allies gain benefits based off of their rolls for the rest of the encounter. Attackers gain crit damage, healers tenacity, supports potency, tanks defense. If we just look at that tank right there, the 5% defense that we're getting on those tanks, you take a look at that and think about that. Dash takes his first turn, hits his AoE, establishes 15 debuffs on the field. That is 15 times 5. That is a 75% boost to your defense of your tanks on his first turn. Now, keep going with that. You know, you have IG-11 hit his abilities. He's going to increase those things as well. You look at the level 9, of course, we have an IG-11 one we could use on that team. It's not the greatest, but it's something. But, like, overall, you're looking at a solid Dash Rendarkron, even though there's not actually a Dash Rendarkron. You look at the same area of supports, you like look at the alignments and you're like, Darkside, you know, Darkside gain, whenever a Darkside ally uses a basic ability, they gain speed up for 2 turns. Not only is that speed up, but that's also a buff that can be used for Imperial Troopers. Or whenever a Darkside ally uses a special ability, they gain 15% turn meter. Another great thing for Imperial Troopers. And then you go to the faction mechanics, and all but one of the Imperial Troopers are supports, and so you can, you know, use this to your advantage, or you can do something like whenever a support ally grants a buff to another ally, that they gain an extra turn meter, and so you'll push even more turn meter into your veins from that opening Piet play and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, you have a lot of interesting stuff in here that you could put together for a lot of these teams, because a lot of teams aren't that perfectly balanced thing of like, oh, there's some tanks, there's some healers, there's some ports, there's some attackers. There's not a whole lot of teams that are like that. There's a lot of teams that are like partial ones. You know, you could look at this attacker area and you're looking at like a Qui-Gon Jinn with like Keller and Beck team kind of thing, and that same idea that goes for that goes for the sorry, brains, it's getting late here. My brain's not working. Same idea that goes for that Mandalorian team. You would instead apply that to your Keller and Beck team, and, you know, they have that mass assist off of Keller and Beck, and all of a sudden you're doing a whole bunch of true damage to those people. You know, if they critically hit, they're dealing it again. Like, they're doing some solid, good stuff. You know, Anakin's gonna critically hit off of his big AoE, period. Like, you can, you know, get some critically hits where it's, you know, 10% offense stacking for 2 turns. So like Anakin hits his bonus turn, he hits that, all of a sudden he has, you know, 50% more offense for his next hit if they attack someone else and kill off that person. You know, whenever an attacker ally defeats an enemy, they take a bonus turn. Anakin hits his AoE, kills off like 2 of the people, immediately takes another turn and kills off someone else. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff that you could put together with this, because there's like a ton of attackers in like the Qui-Gon Jinn team. You look at, you know, the Mon Mothma team, and you're looking at this and you're like, oh yeah, crit chance up, crit damage up, offense up. You can have some solid stuff where they always have crit chance, crit damage, and offense up, so they're dealing more damage overall. And then you look at the level 6, and you can have, you know, the same thing attacker where you're doing extra tier damage, or if there's a lot of supports on the team, you can, there's so many different ways that you could use these crons. So I'd love if you guys would throw in the comments section just kind of what you found so far, what you're theory crafting, because I feel like I keep seeing a lot of people going for these level 9s. Like, everyone wants the Coruscant Underworld Police datacron because, you know, the beams, all that kind of stuff. You know, there's a Wampacron and we want a Wampacron. Yes, I'm going for a Wampacron, obviously. I want to have a Wampacron. These are simultaneously, though, the most, like, open datacrons and closed datacrons. You can't re-roll them very well, but on top of that, they're also really, really, really great for all of us who are just, you know, maybe you don't have any of these characters. Maybe these level 9s don't fit with your teams. You don't have a Relic Wat Tambor, because who does? Unless you have JMK, you don't have one. You know, you're obviously not going to have a Relic Jedi Consular. Who has a Relic Shorty except for, like, the top players of the game? So like you're looking at these and you're like, I don't have any of these characters. It doesn't matter for this set, because for this set you can use it with anyone you want to. So go through your teams. I want you to go through your different teams, kind of get an idea of what they do and what they are. So, you know, you go through and you're like, you go through the Gungans and you're just like, okay, so Boss Nass is a support, Captain Tarples is an attacker, Gungan Boomadir is an attacker. You've got a tank, and then Jar Jar Binks is a support. So you could get a support cron for Boss Nass and Jar Jar Binks if that's good, or you could find one that's good for attackers for your Captain Tarples and Gungan Phalanx, especially because they attack at a turn a ton, and they're going to be the ones that are primarily killing people off. So maybe you could do the bonus turn one. And so like there's so many different places you can do this. Mommy Mandalore, attacks out of turn constantly happen. You know, there's some good stuff that you could do there. You know, you can go through all of these, and there's so many different ones that are just gonna work. Like the CLS team, you look at the CLS team, it is a full team of attackers. Like you have 1 support and 4 attackers, and so you could find a great attacker cron for your CLS. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to go look at those crons again with fresh eyes. Go through your teams. There's so many of these teams that can just utilize these crons so well, and so I want you to go through, find some cool combos, take out some cool combos, be like, oh, CLS does some debuffs, we're gonna grab the debuff 2% damage thing. You know, and then the attackers, I like the idea of them getting bonus turns, and so we're going to do that because then, you know, we're going up against gas and we can ensure we can take all the turns, because we kill, you know, knock down gas, we kill off 5s, all of a sudden we take a bonus turn, and then we kill off you know, Rex next, we take a bonus turn, and so we can ensure to kill everyone before gas gets back up. There's all kinds of cool stuff that I really would love to see. So not only do I want you to comment what you have found so far, but as time goes on, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts as this next Grand Arena comes in, especially with 3v3, because it's going to be a little harder in 3v3, but overall, I think these crons are so cool, and it's the first time I feel like datacrons are actually like viable for everyone. So let me know what your guys' thoughts in the comments section. I would love to hear your guys' theory crafting, because like honestly, it's been years and years and years since we've had like the ability to theory craft. Like yes, we're getting a little bit now because we're getting to the point where we have so many teams in the game, and Grand Arena is so small that like people are being like, oh, Captain Rex inside gas, you know, and all of a sudden it stops the counter with CLS. So like there's stuff there for people, and so people are starting to theory craft a bit, but I feel like this datacron opens up so much to make some random teams, and not only that, take our teams and just be like, ooh, what could we do to this team to make it a little bit nicer? We could, you know, take this team that has 2 tanks and add a little something something to it and give us a little boost at the beginning, you know, give our tanks damage immunity at the beginning and watch that make their counter fail. So I feel like there's a ton here, and I'm not smart enough to do it all. Like I have some cool ideas and I'm excited to try them, but I want to hear all your guys' ideas. I want this to be shared because I think this is so freaking cool. But hopefully this excites you guys as much as it excites me. It's rare that I'm actually excited for datacrons. Like yes, the first order crons have been cool, the resistance crons have been cool for those of us with light speed bundles, but this new way of doing crons is so nice because now everyone that has just relic characters in their roster can have a good cron. And I love that idea so much. It actually feels like the catch-up mechanic they're supposed to be, instead of the top players just getting to use their favorite toys. And I love that idea. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you still hate datacrons, maybe this is something you're never going to interact with, but honestly I think it's really cool of CG to do. Yes, I have my problems with it, the re-rolling kind of sucks, but like if I find a good level 3, then I continue to level 6, and then I can find a good level 6, and then I'm good with the mod, or good with the datacron. I don't need to take it past that. I don't need to go to a level 9. I just get a level 6, be happy, and have a good cron. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know. If you like this video, please do subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.